Hi guys, welcome back to Anadialogue, the dialogue on analog music reproduction. Perhaps a few of you may recollect, may remember that a few months ago, maybe a few years ago, I don't remember anymore, I made a video dedicated to the best rock albums of 1970. Here's a link. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Today, at the end of the year 2021, we're going to do the best rock albums of 1971, exactly 50 years ago. Let's get to it. Okay, boys and girls, so we're going to take a look at 11 fantastic, amazing albums. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to put everything. I had to make a choice. So don't get angry if a few of those are not, a few of famous albums are not in this top 11, we could say. In any case, I'm going to write in the video description the ones excluded, okay, that are not but should have been if we were able to do a 20 or 30 album video. Already, this is going to be pretty long. Let's jump in. Let's start with our first record, which is, you know who, David Bowie, Hunky Dory. This is his fourth album on RCA, and this is probably his best-selling album of all time, or at least one of its best-selling albums of all time. I'm just going to put the first track. Let's see. If you're wondering what this setup is, here's a link. I just recently presented this turntable and arm. Okay, guys, so I'm going to try to put, as you can see, a few needle drops, a few songs. If a few records don't have any song, any presentation, that means that unfortunately YouTube blocked the video, so I had to get that part out of the video in order to put it back online, okay? So it's going to be kind of difficult. In any case, we'll try to put anything that we can. Okay, and let's start with the first track, one of the most famous and iconic songs of David, I would say. And he was coming all out of his folk period and a little more soft pop, rock a little bit, but not too much. Different album, fantastic. As we know, hunky dory in English means everything is okay, all right. Everything is satisfaction.
Every time I thought I got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me. I've never caught a glimpse how the others.
Produced by Ken Scott this time, not Tony Visconti.
Fast to take that test. Changes. Turn and face the strain. Changes. Wanna be a richer man. Changes.
Okay. As you can see in this album cover, which was a black and white photograph, which was colored then in order to give this retro style, he's still pretending to be a female, just like in the prior album, The Man Who Sold the World. So he's still in that phase, we could say. Okay, let's proceed now to a great album. One of my favorites of all time. In position number 2, this is not an escalation. It's not from the best, the worst, or the worst to the best. All of them are fantastic. We just have different positions. Position number 2, we have L.A. Woman by The Doors. Oh, yes, mama. Now, this is the Analog Productions version, 45 RPM. Fantastic. If you like The Doors, their albums is one better than the other, you should go for this edition. I hate 45 RPM because you have to turn the record every 10 minutes. In any case, this is the best sounding, which was also curated by Bruce Butnick as the originals. So, let's try to listen to something. This is the last album with Jim Morrison, unfortunately. He died I think 4 months after the release. And as you can imagine, it was a great loss. The Doors went on, they did other albums, but this I would say is probably maybe the pinnacle. In any case, they're all excellent up to here. And this LA Woman is not a woman. The woman is LA, Los Angeles, which comes from a novel that he liked a lot, that Jim Morrison liked a lot, by John Ritchie, The City of Night, which is also something that he added in other songs. City of Night. So that's the concept behind here. And there are very famous songs, like, for example, Riders of the Storm, which was also featured in the Apocalypse Now movie. But let's try to hear a different track. "45," we said. For the first time, we also have other types of sounds in a few tracks besides the organ. This was released on Elektra Records. Well, this is a fantastic album which heavily relies on blues, okay? And that's what I like from the Doors. Just like other groups like the Rolling Stones and something else that is coming up, heavily rely on blues, and I love that contamination. Okay, let's proceed now to our third point on Chrysalis Records. What do we have? A masterpiece. We have Aqualung from Jethro Tull. Oh yes, mama. Now this is one of my favorites of all time, absolutely. I mean, this album is just incredible. And here, the band is finally moving a little out of their more folk type of albums, and they're diving in prog. But not only, absolutely. So let's try to listen to something. This edition I have here is from Classic Records, which should be sourced from the original master tape. Although I do remember they had some problems, they probably used production tape. In any case, whoops, still 45. But something I love from them, by them, a little bit like Led Zeppelin, they do have these special mystic, medieval fantasy types of rhythms every once in a while, which I adore. Like, for example, if I don't go wrong, this one here. And this sometimes happens with these prog rock bands or rock bands, and I love that. Aqualung comes from a diving suit gear to go underwater, which emulates that bad breathing that this homeless guy they found once, which gave the inspiration for the concept of this album. Strange. We have these delicate riffs. Okay, let's proceed now to our fourth position. And considering it's number 4, I could not put Led Zeppelin 4. Oh, yes. Now, this is their 4th album. This is on Classic Records. As you can see here, I still have the label with the hype sticker, where it says the type of production they use, the QX 200 gram super vinyl profile. Unfortunately, Classic Records does not exist anymore, but the quality was very high. Again, this was sourced from a master tape, and it was released, I don't know, at least 15 years ago, maybe more. In any case, apart from that, great album. Particular cover, I would say. Let's try to put something, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Okay. No, actually, I just want to say, I love this very strange picture they put, which now obviously is iconic. And this, according to some, this should be a guy connected to Aleister Crowley, which was a magician that of the 2 centuries ago, something like that, which was, he is very famous, or the beginning of the 20th century, if I don't go wrong, which Jimmy Page was very fond of. So this may be someone connected to that. It's probably much more simple. This is a painting that actually Robert Plant found, you know where? At Reading. That's where I did my PhD, and I maybe know where he found that, because there is a gallery which has antiques still today, and it's very 70s-like looking. So he may have purchased it there. I don't know. In any case, as you can see, you have to look at it this way, where we have this dichotomy with modern buildings, something more connected to today in the 70s, and something a little more bucolic, something more connected to nature, to the past, to simple things. But there is some symbology here. Well, as we know, there are symbols involved in their albums. In fact, this is the first album that we find also their famous 4 symbols right here on the label, which, according to the story, Jimmy Page asked every member to decide their own symbol. The Zozo, which it's not Zozo, this is a symbol that is supposed to mean Saturn, is for Jimmy Page, the second one for John Paul Jones, and the other one for John Bonham, and the last one Robert Plant. And everyone picked his own, which are all alchemy, or even just magical symbols in general. In any case, that's something that remained from then on. Let's try to listen to something. Black Dog. Okay. If you hear a little hum, it's coming obviously from the phono preamp, because I have all these lamps and stuff connected. Otherwise, that's not supposed to be there. Okay, let's proceed now to our 5th record. Very famous, very cool. What am I talking about? The Rolling Stones' Sticky Fingers, which wasn't supposed to be the real title, actually. Sticky Fingers was just a code name. They used it because it was always attached to them. They were trying to follow to get through it, to get to the end of it. So that was the name they used to call it, and in the end it remained. This fantastic, very iconic cover created by Andy Warhol. And this edition comes from the huge box set that they released a few years ago with all the albums of the Doors, starting from the early 70s all the way to the last one at that time, I think 2006. And in this version, you have the real original Sticky Fingers version, which means it has a real zipper here. Then they had to take it out because it was ruining other records, as you can imagine, piling up. It was not the best choice. In any case, the very first edition does have a real zipper, and this one does have it. Plus, in this album, for the first time, what do we have? We have a very famous logo of them. The lips with the tongue. Very famous, very iconic, which they're still using it. Okay, very famous songs in here. Let's just listen to one track. These are all half-speed mastered at Abbey Road. Pretty good, pretty good. Nothing exceptional. I must admit that the mono box is much better in terms of quality. In any case, it's a nice box set. This was censored in a few countries like Spain under the dictatorship of Franco. Rest in peace, Charlie. As you know, also they heavily relied on the blues since the beginning, actually. Okay, now let's proceed to our sixth record. I have it on CD now here with me because I couldn't find the vinyl record. That happens, also another one. And what do we have? Another iconic album, iconic cover. What am I talking about? Who's Next by The Who, which starts off with one of the most famous rock tracks of all time, also brought back a few years ago thanks to CSI. What am I talking about? Baba O'Riley. Let's listen. This is the Lowrey organ, which Pete Townshend found and introduced here to give this special effect. On Decca, iconic cover where they're all peeing on this pillar, which is keeping down trash. That's it, trash here below, burned up. They actually were coming from Tommy, as you know, a very complicated album, concept album, and they started a new concept album which was supposed to be called Lifehouse, but it didn't get to the end. And they came up with this. Thank you for coming up with this. There aren't that many albums of The Who in the end. There are like 10, 12, something like that. And the last one, fortunately, came out in 2019. I did a review of different types of media. Here's a link. Very nice, very interesting. Okay, now Let's proceed to our 7th position. What do we have? Going back to vinyl, another masterpiece of hard rock. What am I talking about? Black Sabbath, Master of Reality. Now, this is their 3rd album, which was produced by, as the prior 2 before, from Robert Bryan. Then the band took over and started to produce their own records. And I must say, I think the best of them are the first 3 albums. So maybe they lost something. In any case, even afterwards, they found new solutions, new sounds, which I adore. And as I said before, this together with the 1970 album of Paranoid, obviously, we do have the foundation, the beginning of what is going to be not only hard rock, but even, I would say, metal. Because the sound is completely different. There is a different sound, which comes also from the tuning down of the guitar of Yomi, plus also followed, the same was applied to the bass, in order to have this very strange and low type of, but strong, deep, of impact sound, which they kept, which is practically their signature, which I find incredible. So let's try to hear something. The original cover was, this part was in black, just embossed. You could only read Black Sabbath, and this part was present embossed, but black. If I don't go wrong, you never know. On Vertigo Records, as you can see, there's the Vertigo here. At the beginning of this track, you're going to hear somebody coughing. It's Yomi, which was really truly coughing because Ozzy had brought a huge joint with him, and he started to cough. And they got it on tape and put it in. Okay, I just want to let you hear the other side, because I love when hard rock, heavy rock bands do also soft songs or very harmonic songs, which comes out in something truly magical, like this track, which is purely instrumental. Orchid, fantastic. Only these geniuses could create something so delicate and special, I think, at least. Also Embryo. Okay. Let's proceed now to our 8th position. Again, a CD, because I can't find my record. In any case, a good CD, actually a Blu-ray. What am I talking about? The Allman Brothers Live at the Fillmore East. Yes, it's a live album, true. But you have to put it. I mean, you cannot not put this in the top 11 of 1971 records. And in this edition, the Blu-ray edition, high resolution, we have all 3 the nights from which then they picked the different tracks to put together what was the original release. And they conceived this as live, obviously. They wanted that vibration, that emotion, that power. But they decided since the beginning they wanted to make a special album from that. So let's try to listen to something. Obviously, also in this case, this is a Capricorn Records release. We are heavily relying on blues, especially blues, a little bit of jazz also, obviously rock, nuances of country, a fantastic melange, which is considered one of the best live rock recordings of all time. I had to put it.
Okay, the Allman Brothers Band.
Blues! It's blues! The original cover was supposed to be this with their names underneath. But in the end, they changed that and they put this fantastic picture by Jim Marshall, which I adore, black and white, fantastic. And they captured the band laughing. Truly, this is a real laugh because the story is fun. Because they were doing this session early in the morning, and all of a sudden, Duane Allman sees one of his friends, drug dealers, so he runs to him, he gets what he needs, and he comes back, and obviously everyone started to laugh. Something that could have happened only in the 70s. Now you would be arrested. Great sound. Okay, let's proceed now to another milestone with our number 9. We have a fantastic album which lays the foundation of glam rock. What am I talking about? Electric Warrior from T-Rex. Amazing, incredible. One would expect hard rock, but it's not. It's not. In fact, it's more on rock, pop, glam rock side. This is the second album from T-Rex, or the 6th if you're considering also Tyrannosaurus Rex, how they were called before. But the front man is obviously Mark Bolan, which should be the man here in this fantastic art graphics for this album cover, which I adore. Now this also got, again, famous thanks to a series of movies from Tarantino, Billy Elliot, and things like that. And already starting with the first track, you fall in love immediately with this stuff. Let's hear. Mambo Son. This is on Fly and Reprise. Tony Visconti. We miss you, Mark. Original release. Just want to put you also the second track. Very famous.
I was dancing when I was 12. I was dancing when I was 12. I was dancing when I was out. I was dancing when I was out. I danced myself right out the womb.
So much sadness in poetry. Okay. Let's proceed now to our 10th album. We're close to the end. Again, one of my favorites of all time. What am I talking about? Fragile from Yes. Oh, baby. the foundations of prog, of rock and roll, I would say, of rock. This actually was their second release in 1971, because they also released the Yes album before. So very productive. Here in this case, they changed the keyboard player, the pianist. From Kay, they went to Wakeman because Kay was a little shy in using the new types of electronic synthesizers, different types of keyboards beside the classical ones. In fact, using the electric piano, I'm reading the organ, the mellotron, the Minimoog, all these types of incredible new sounds, they also changed their own sound thanks to that. So starting from here, you have also those instruments, which obviously revolutionized their incredible repertoire. This is original release, fantastic, on Atlantic Records. And I have to put at least the first track, which is just mesmerizing. Roundabout. Oh, yes. Beautiful gatefold. They recorded a lot of their stuff on their own. Community. Just playing, discovering new sounds all together. Okay. Now we have our last record, which I must admit it's something completely out of the schemes. It's not a very famous record, usually mentioned in this top 10, but I had to put it because I love it. Very famous in France. Who am I talking about? Histoire de Melody Nelson from Serge Gainsbourg. I talked about him in a prior video. Here's a link on a special edition, a complete edition, Volume 1. They just released Volume 2. This is coming from that. Fantastic. Probably going to do a video about it. And this is a very special type of record. The sound, this is probably the pinnacle of Serge Gainsbourg, the poète mal dit. He was a crazy man. A true poet, a true artist, but obviously very controversial. And I must admit that the sound, the concept he created, because also the story is kind of awkward because it's a middle-aged man chasing, going through, also in love with a 15-year-old guy like Lolita. So already there we're starting pretty bad for that time, and also for today. But the sound, this avant funk, is incredible. Almost, I would say the grassroots of rap almost, because it's narrated in some parts. But the sound, the quality, this is on Philips. It's just amazing. Let's listen. The use of the bass. Ooh. And guitars. This is Jane Birkin, his wife, his girlfriend. Before her, Brigitte Bardot, incredible women. And when he died, she put the monkey in his coffin. Here's Serge.
Un endroit isolé.
Very soft, cool, but funk. She was his main source of inspiration. Absolutely. Just one more. A little more funky. L'hôtel particulier.
Au 56, 7, 8, peu importe. De la rue X. Si vous frappez,
Very simple.
à la porte. D'abord un coup, puis 3 autres. On vous laisse entrer. Seul et parfois même accompagné.
And on these notes, guys, I want to say thank you for watching all the video. I hope you got all the way here. As I said in the beginning, there's so many missing. Obviously Pink Floyd Metal, but also Caravan, Intermounting Flame, Pearl with Janis Joplin, Nursery Crime from Genesis, Emerson Palmer and Lake, Santana. There's so many, obviously. The list goes on and on. I had to make a choice. In any case, I'll put a few other bonus in the video description. Bye, guys, and remember, music is more analog.
Que vous voulez, le 44.
Well guys, if you're enjoying my videos and you're enjoying my channel, please consider to subscribe by clicking the black and white logo here below. Also, don't forget to click the notification bell so you'll never miss an episode and you will become a true member of the analog community.